is go to ILM. Make it to ILM probably 2 to 3 times a month. My working with visual effects people is I feel it's very artist direct. You have transmissions which are kind of T1 lines, and they can see me, I can see them, but it's still not the same as actually going by each artist's box. It's very important to me. That's where you get a lot of direct communication with the artists, and you cut through the, I guess, you know, the telephone, you know what I'm saying? Where things can get misconstrued. Right now, I kind of put out a 911 call to the studio and ILM, basically saying we are effed. I wrote an email to everybody, all the heads at Paramount, Steven's office, everyone, just so everyone knows. I wrote to all the heads of ILM saying, all my movies, Pearl Harbor, Armageddon, Transformers, Island, whatever, I was able to show the movie this time. And we have sections of the movie you cannot show to an audience because there's nothing there. We've got now 2 months left, so it's just to make them accountable. Now, they're not going to be able to screw the release up because they will get it done. But they've been told since the beginning of the year that they are effed and they don't know how effed they are. All right, but I'm telling them you're effed because I just know we have so much work to do. It's this movie's definitely 3 times harder than the last one.
On the first film, ILM created 420 shots. On this one, we're creating 552. The slightly deceptive thing is that these shots are so much larger.
No one knew what these robots were going to do in the first movie. And no one knew what they were going to look like, and we found that, you know, through the process of doing the first movie. So the second movie, we at least had the comfort of knowing, you know, how we can make these things and what they need to look like to look real on screen. So to a large extent, the second movie was just more.
Everything does start with the script, and certainly the numbers of characters that, as we're reading the script, whoa, wait a minute, there's another one, there's another one. A lot of brand new characters are revealed in the script.
We had only, I think, 14 hero robots on the last film, and on this one we had 45. And in total, we had 217 assets to build. So just the volume of work that we were going to have to produce in the time that we had was incredible.
All right, Transformers 2, Revenge of the Fallen. We're just about done with production. It's been about 2 years for a lot of us working on this thing. 350 talented artists contributing to the...
Hey, Nanda.
Hey,
Nanda.
Michael, yeah.
What are you doing?
Just working on putting together a little animation kind of documentary thing that we can show at the wrap party.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Can we actually do work now?
Oh yeah. Let me go ahead and cut this off and get right back to doing what I was doing.
With the new robots in this movie, we started from scratch to a degree. The technology always advances and our methodology always advances. We revisited the old robots to get them up to speed for this movie.
Even though we've reused a lot of the assets like Optimus and Bumblebee that came forward from the first film, we found that all of a sudden the camera's looking in new places that we never painted or needed upgrading from the first film. So even our characters from the last film needed a complete makeover when they got into this one.
The transformations we did on this film have become a lot more aggressive than the transformations we did on the first film. And by aggressive, I mean we've tried to keep the robots on the move as they transform rather than driving into frame, stopping, and transforming.
We look at each robot and use the transformation as a way to help define their character. On Jetfire, for instance, Michael pushed us. He said, this is an old man robot, so his transformation has to be really clunky and jerky, and stuff has to not work. And you'll see him, smash his own leg trying to get it to rotate into place, and pieces dropping off of him, and stuff falling out all over the place. Whereas, Devastator's this very violent transformation with all these robots being smashed into each other.
We had the advantage on what we did here at Digital Domain in that we had the smaller robots, and by their very nature they were faster. And Michael said, yeah, these things are quick. We're not going to dwell on their transformations. They're just part of how they move. We had 8 kitchen bots that we were working with, and all of them had to transform.
Even though they're only in a few shots, you can't skimp on them. So you've now got to design, build, model, do every bit of work that you would have to do on any other creature, but they only feature in a few shots. So it can be a little expensive, but I think it sort of pays off.
Michael's camera work in that sequence, he never really wants to play anything to camera. He wants it to seem sort of incidental to camera, like, oh, here goes the camera moving over here. We just picked up one transforming. The sequence was more about putting this little commando group of little nasty Decepticons together than it was dwelling on anything.
Getting those robots to stick, and especially with the challenges of the anamorphic lens, was very, very daunting. And we chased Float a lot in that sequence of the little Dickbot, the blender guy. He was slipping around on the stool, and lock him down, and then the router bot on the wall starts slipping around. So then you have to do different tracks for different guys in a lot of cases.
The big challenge was taking these smaller characters and still making them very dynamic and interesting. Wheelie was one of the characters we were most excited about going into Transformers. And Michael was very concerned about Wheelie as well. In fact, he told us he was his favorite character, early on in the movie, before he'd even established who Wheelie's character was completely. And I think the reason is that Wheelie's he's a torn character. He's torn between the good guy, the bad guy type thing. He doesn't really know who he wants to be.
With this one, he wanted to have hands and to be smaller and cuter, or the eyes to be more complex and have more like the eyelids, the way they worked. He wanted to have more pieces, mechanisms, little things moving inside.
When we first started, Michael was saying, I think he's kind of schizo. That's our first direction. I think he's all over the map. Like one minute he's going to rip your head off, and the next minute he's, I'm sorry kind of thing. We did some tests with that and kind of were developing along that lines. And then he said, no, I think he's more like a little bit of a kind of an I love you character. Like if he was looking at Megan, he'd be going, I love you. So we made him this sweet little character and, started plugging that into a couple scenes.
Oh, you're cute. My name's Wheelie. Yeah. Say my name. Say my name.
Finally, he said, nope, I've got it. He's like a Joe Pesci little shithead character. And that's where he finally ended up.
Oh, that's my eye, you crazy spit!
The unveiling of Alice to the Pretender, that was something that we hadn't done before. And we had to create some very complicated procedural animation that could integrate to keyframe animation that was now also matched to the real-world performance. So that required some development.